It's Thursday. It is June 1st, a brand new month, the last month in the first half of the year. I'm GHK Lall on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Welcome to the National Outlook. It was this story that came out late last week, and it's from the European Union, and it's about campaign financing. I want to talk something that is a little away from oil today. Campaign financing. It's very, very important to governance in Guyana, governance in the world, as a matter of fact. Close to the end of the 2020 elections, I remember the EU made a number of recommendations, over two dozen of them, and they prioritized 8 of them. Among those were electoral reform, which we are still wrangling about and getting nowhere. Perhaps we'll never get anywhere. And campaign financing reform. You know, we talk about reform in this country and we end up with the deformed. Reform leads to what is deformed because nobody's prepared to give up something so that we, the Guyanese people, get the best of something more. It's not happening. No side to the political equation, neither of the two major sides are willing to concede an inch. And so we keep circling around and we talk about campaign finance reform. The vice president said says he's concerned that campaign financing reform would mean that people who give money to political groups could be targeted and boycotted. Now, I don't know where he gets these things from. The people who are going to boycott businesses, they better have some money in their pockets, that meaning that they spend. And those who are boycotting usually don't have much money to spend. There's one kind of people and one set of the demographic in Guyana, mostly, for the most part, who has money to spend because it's close to the vice president. Let's call it for what it is. They're close to the vice president, so they are the people they're not going to stop spending because campaign financing reform identifies me or somebody else as being a contributor to the PPP or PNC. No, that's not going to happen. So what really campaign financing reform does is identify for us those who are giving huge sums of money to the political party, especially the one that ends up in government, and then turns around quite reasonably, quite humanly, and expect rewards for their donations. I mean, it's the way the world works. You give something to get something. And who has more than the government of the day to give a lot of things, a lot of contracts, a lot of prime land, a lot of concessions, taxes, and other rewards. And this is what has been happening. Yet we have the private sector crying foul and crying how it needs more of local content and raging at anybody who calls for renegotiation of the oil contract. Campaign finance reform is a first step in making our elections honest. We've never had an honest election in this country, and it's not just Burnham. The PPP also has not presided over completely honest elections. And that is understood across the country. So we need campaign finance reform. It's a must, so that we don't want dirty money in our politics, and we don't want too much money from certain kinds of people in our political bloodstream, no, elections bloodstream, because of what happens when all the votes are counted and after the dust settles. We need clean governance, and it starts with campaign financing reform, genuine campaign financing reform. Why has the government not made a start in implementing this? Well, it speaks for itself, doesn't it? I'm GHK Lall on Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 and 99.5 FM. You are listening to the National Outlook.
Kaieteur Radio.
Covering Guyana from coast to coast.
Demerara